I don't know. Croassa Hatta, clinging to herself, and so sitting next to her, rubbing her back. Sario, you know what? Let me help you trim your hair, so you can hide the buttons on your hairy skin. Hatta would have said, no need. She answered precipitously. A slap in the eyes of So. Are you sure? I can even lend you one of my wigs if you want. The belly of Ada was drowning. Her wig? Since when did Esso start buying wigs and human hair? She never had the means for that. Unless she's taken everything from her. Ada barely swallowed. No, it's okay, she muttered. For the first time, Ada lived the truth with clarity. Esso was not only her friend, and she had been blind all this time. At the end of a semester, Ada was nothing more than the shadow of herself. Her body was covered in plebs. She was weak. Her once magnificent face had become unrecognizable. She was failing in her classes. Her social life had disappeared. She had no strength to eat anymore. And yet, Esau continued to borrow her wig from her. Beastie, this wig is too thin. Just for 2 days, please. Ada was too exhausted to talk. She let Esau take them. Then, one night, while she was sleeping painfully in her bed, she still heard voices under her window. But this time, she was ready. Weakly, she got up, fought to reach the window, and looked outside. Esau was there, under the coat, but she was not alone. A group of women were hanging around her, their faces painted with white chalk, their hands raised towards the sky. In the hands of Ezo, Ada's favorite wig, the one she wore the day she won the beauty contest at the university the previous year. The women were singing. Their strange and creepy voices were resonating in the air. Then Ezo lifted the wig and declared with a loud voice, her beauty, her fortune, her destiny. I take everything. Ada's knees bowed to her. It was true. Esau stole her destiny. These wigs were not just wigs. They were canoes. And every time she lent one, she gave a piece of her soul. She had to stop it. But how? She had no one. No more strength, no more help, until a memory came back to her. The woman whose grandmother often spoke. A powerful prophetess. Gathering the last remaining forces, Ada made an irrevocable decision. She went home. She prepared a small bag, and without warning anyone, she got on the first bus heading to Benin City. When she arrived, her mother burst into tears when she saw her. Jesus! Ada! What happened to you? Mom, help me! Her mother did not lose a second. She immediately took her to the prophetess Aya Omaru, a woman of God known for her gift of seeing things hidden. As soon as she saw Ada, the prophetess took a step back and took a deep breath. Who did you offend? She asked, her voice impregnated with wisdom. Ada's lips trembled. I don't know. The prophetess put her hands on Ada's head and closed her eyes. A long silence settled. Then, finally, she spoke. Your own sister stole your glory. Ada's heart held tight. She is not my sister. She is my best friend. The prophetess shook her head slowly. She is your worst enemy. Tears flowed down Ada's face. How can I get rid of it? The woman smiled softly, as if she already knew the answer. You will fight fire by fire. Tonight, we will see who holds true power. The prophetess instructed Ada to kneel before a lit candle. The air was filled with fire, and the hypnotic rhythm of the sacred drums resounded in the room, creating a mystical and solemn atmosphere. Tonight, God and the heavens will witness. She dipped her fingers in a consecrated oil, then traced a cross on Ada's forehead. A shiver ran through her skin when the cold oil touched her skin. Do not be afraid, my child. The enemy has gathered, but he will be scattered. His mother was sitting next to her, crying slowly, calling God, his ancestors, and all the forces of good to save his daughter. The prophetess continued, Ezo did not only take your beauty, she took your light, your favor, your destiny. That's why you suffer. But then the prophetess put her hands on Ada's head and said with force, the Spirit spoke. Tonight, they will fight for you. You must not sleep. We will call the heavens to recover everything that has been stolen from you. Ada was weakly distressed, her body in pain, her soul out of breath. At that same moment, several kilometers away, Essa was taking part in another ritual. She was standing in front of the same old woman, at the heart of a sanctuary hidden in the depths of the thick forests outside Benin City. The air was heavy with the smell of burnt herbs. The walls of the sanctuary were covered with red and black marks, and in front of them lay a hut full of high troubles. On the surface floated a golden-haired mustache. The final step is close, murmured the old woman by moving the water. Tonight her soul will be weakened, and all she has will be yours forever. And so smiles satisfied. Tomorrow morning, she won't even be able to get out of her bed. The old woman sobbed in silence. So let's begin. She threw a black powder into the fire, and a thick smoke rose. Esso took out Ada's last wig, the one she had borrowed a few days earlier. She lit it over the flames and declared, I take everything. There is only dust left. The fire raged, and at the same time, in the chamber of the prophetess, Ada was screaming. Her blood was freezing. Her body was convulsing violently, as if invisible hands were trying to tear her off. Her skin was burning. Her skull seemed to split in two. The prophetess, what's going on? Yelled her mother, terrified. But the prophetess stayed still, lifting her stick. They tried to take over the last part of her soul, but they failed. She turned to Ada, her voice strong and unwavering. Repeat after me. Ada, out of strength, struggled to articulate. I throw away all the stolen glory. I take back what belongs to me. I break all the chains of evil. As soon as these words that turned into lips, the candle next to her exploded. The air became electric, charged with supernatural power. A few miles from there, in the sanctuary, Esau was brutally retreating. What's going on? She yelled as her body began to tremble in an uncontrollable manner. The old woman's eyes were it's impossible. And then, the whole sanctuary began to tremble. Back to the prophetess. Ada suddenly stood up. A new force invaded her body. The furuncles disappeared. The red plates disappeared. Under the eyes of her mother, the prophetess raised her hands even higher and declared that each stolen star would return to its owner. A deaf and powerful noise shook the ground. At the same time, Esau pushed a screaming, violently thrown to the ground in the sanctuary. Blood flowed from his nose, his body trembling with weakness. My power, my beauty. She was crying. The old woman caught him, violently shaking him. Idiot, you lost everything. Esau's eyes grew bigger in horror. For the first time, she saw him. His skin changed. His body, once bright and perfect, were now covered with the same plebs and were uncles who had tormented Ada. No, it's not possible. The old woman tried to flee, but before she could escape, a violent wind swept the sanctuary. The earthen pots broke, the incandescent embers scattered. Esau yelled when the flames tore his skin. Help me. Pity. But there was no one to save her. And while the sanctuary was collapsing in infernal rumbling, Ada, returning to the prophetess, was deeply inspired. She was finally free. The next morning, Ada woke up completely healed. Her mother, in tears, hugged her. My daughter, you are whole again. Ada has been smiling for the first time for months. The prophetess observed her with a look full of wisdom. The battle was already won in the spiritual before it was in the physical. Who is Ada to? She had learned her lesson hard. All friends are not true friends. Some come to love. Others come to steal, destroy, and betray. If this story has struck you and you have learned something important, and subscribe to the channel. And most importantly, tell us in the comments, have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted? Let's discuss this together. Don't hesitate to discover other fascinating and full lessons on this channel. And most importantly, share this video with your friends and family so that they too can learn from this profound and powerful story. See you soon for a new story. Stay safe, stay wise, and always protect your blessings. See you next time.